We are getting ready to route in the cavity pocket and also recess this cover. Both covers will get recessed where they're flush with the back of the body. So we're going to route, we got to route the whole cavity in plus route the cover route out in this thing. So this is my jig that I made for my cavity cutout. It's going to go right here. So we got to make sure that this is going to be lined up where it needs to be. So this is a volume pot. This is a tone pot. They're going to go about like that. Now the toggle on the other volume pot should be good where they're at. We'll throw them in here in a second and take a look at them. But basically, we're going to throw this cover on, and what we want to do is get this thing adjusted to where we got enough room on the top and the side, enough room on the top, on the bottom and the side over here, where we can set this thing on there, and it's going to give me enough room to route my cavity in, but also have enough room to have a lip, about 1/8 of an inch lip to go around the whole cavity, so my cover will sit down on there. So I went back and redid my jig, made it a little bit bigger, or my template I mean. Made it a little bit bigger because I was going to have trouble fitting the 3 pots. Plus we also got to have, because it's active pickups, we got a little box that goes down in there. So it's got to fit back in the back corner here. So the original line was here, and it was just too tight against the pots. I needed more room, so we extended it down a little bit, so we got plenty of room for that box to sit in there. Our 3 pots and our toggle. I also went ahead and drawed out where my cover for my tremolo back's going to be, so I keep the gap in between these straight. I don't want them being crooked, so I got a straight line here, and then I got my jig on, or my template drawing on here where it's going to be. So now just take this thing, we'll clamp this thing down about like that, and we'll go ahead and we'll route the whole cavity down about 3/16 of an inch maybe, and that'll be what our cover sits down in. And we'll come back through and then route the rest of it down, leaving a lip of 1/8 of an inch or so around the edges, so my cover has something to sit on when it sits down in there flush against the body. So I got the initial route job done here. I got it just under 3/16 of an inch rounded down in. So now what the next thing we got to do is I'm gonna mark a line at about 1/8. That'll run the whole way around the inside of this. That's going to leave a lip, and then I'll go ahead and use like a Forstner bit or something and get a lot of this hogged out inside here. Then hit my router bit and route all this area down in here down to about 1/4 of an inch. We'll leave about 1/4 inch down inside there, so we have on the top of the guitar. All this will get routed out, and we'll have that lip of about 1/8 of an inch that runs the way around. That way our cover will lay down on there and be flush with the back of the body. I'm getting ready to go ahead and start routing this center section out. Now you can see here that I got lines drawn at about 3/16 of an inch, just under 3/16 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'll take this drill here with this paddle bit on it and go ahead and remove a bunch of the material inside here. Once I get it about half of it removed, I'm going to take my router with that bit on it there, and I'm going to start routing, and I'm going to route it down to out to these lines on the outside. I'm going to leave that lip on there so our cover has a place to lay. down about an inch and an eighth or so is what I took out of here. I got about an inch and an eighth. I need to go down to inch and about a half. So we're close here. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my router, drop it in there, and start cleaning up my edges. Once I get everything cleaned up, then we'll start dropping it down, probably going like an eighth at a time till I get down to the thickness that I want. Okay, so I went ahead and made a first pass with my router, my bits. That's the bit I'm using. So my first pass, and I got it routed out to my lines all the way around. Now I got my lip on here, and now what I need to do is come out and take some more off here because this is too thick. My pots and my toggle is not going to stick through, so we're just going to lower the router a bit, come back through here, make a pass, lower the router a bit, make another pass until we get it down to right around 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so I'm done routing. I got my pocket completely routed out. I got it down to where I got a 1/4 inch left on the front, so my pots and my toggle switch will fit in there nice. Now the sides here are kind of rough on the inside, and it's not that big of a deal because it's going to be hidden, but I'll still come back through and clean them up a little bit, make them look decent. And my lip, where my cover is going to sit, is right where I need it to be. So now we're going to start to make a cover. Okay, so this is the piece of wood I'm going to use to make my cover with, and as you can see, I used the 2 square sides and then went ahead and drew the 2 other sides on. So now I'm going to take this over to my chop saw, make 2 cuts, we'll bring it back, and then we've got to round the corners down to make it fit into my cavity. So I got my basic 4 corners cut, and now what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper and start rounding. My corners are squared off still. So I got to round these corners, get these corners rounded down, and it should fall in there. It should be pretty close. I'm going to use a piece of maple and a piece of 50 grit sandpaper. Just go at it like that. Doesn't take a whole lot. To get it rounded down where it's ready to go. It's looking good. It's a little bit long though, I think. So I'm going to have to cut, I'm going to take it back over to my chop saw and cut a smidgen off the top up here. A little bit long on the back side. Not much though. So I'm going to run over to my chop saw, so cut a smidgen off, come back through and see if it fits a little bit better. So here's our cover, and there it is. Now, it's still kind of rough. And well, we got to put screws in it to get it down level and everything. You can see the corner sticking up a little bit here, but it's fitting pretty decent. Like I said, I got some of the sides and stuff to fix a little bit, but other than that, it should be good to go. So that takes care of the cavity cover. Okay, guys, so that's going to finish it up probably for today. It's getting kind of laid out. On this guitar though, it's getting real close to being painted. So probably what I'm going to do next is go ahead and get the neck bolted onto it, set up the bridge, get everything set up on it, get the pickup set in it, put strings on it, and make sure everything's going to work right, make sure everything's right. That way we can get ready to start putting primer on this. We only got a couple things to do. We got to put a battery box in, put a jack in, and then basically it's ready for final sanding and putting primer and paint on it. So this is getting real close to being done. So that's going to do it for me today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.